Critical events may change how we view ourselves and work. Things are going to happen to us. It's inevitable. No matter how fortunate you think you are, things are going to happen to us in our life we can't predict. We live in that contingent world. And eventually, I've got to deal with watching loved ones die. I have to deal with health problems myself. And eventually, I have got to deal with my mortality. So the old joke, the saying, no one gets out alive. But it's important to understand that things are going to happen to us, they're going to change us. In the research I did, people had some things happen. Divorce, getting fired, a serious car accident, and it totally changes them. And those of you here who have had health scares, you know that all of a sudden life is different for you. And none of us are immune to this. It's going to happen. Now, the effect of work will probably change over time. The effect of what we're doing and what we're experiencing will probably change because of all these things, that the self is changing, the situation's changing the self, critical events will happen, etc. And so therefore, work, the experience, is probably going to change. And the problem is today when we think that we're supposed to choose a profession, and then we're supposed to be happy, and then 10 or 20 years down the road, when we kind of look at it, or we look around, wake up one morning and say, is this it? We don't understand it, and we're dumbfounded by it. But I would suggest to you, that's just the way it is, and it's the way it should be. Life should not be, hey, growth, 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 make choices, and then flatline here and live our lives. Life should be this continual evolution of who we are and the self and that meaningful existence as we create ourselves and create the world around us. And it should never be this flat line. So change, and we have to accept this. We have to tune ourselves into it. Cholowski said, meaningful work is just with the meaning of the paid work we perform. It's about the way we live our lives. The alignment of purpose, values, relationships, and activities that we pursue in life. The question is, how do I want to exist? How do I want to live? How do I want to look back on my life? What makes sense to me? And the work is a part of that. And you may choose that work is everything. That work is where you find meaning. And you're going to say, that's where I find meaning. Or you may say, you know what, I don't want to find meaning through work. I want work to be kept in its place. And as long as, hey, the everydayness and the activities, and I feel good, and I'm in a workplace that treats me decently, and I make enough money to live the way I want, that's all I want. And I'll seek meaning elsewhere. And I'll create that myself differently. So we have a choice to make. We have a choice. The job career calling model, interesting enough, work is a job, work is a career, work is a calling. They put it on a hierarchy of investment, and we're supposed to find our calling. But the problem is, one, we can't keep up that sort of intensity with our work to give us that what we need. And secondly, should we? Should we? Bless you. Should we? Maybe that work is not where we should seek meaning, and maybe this is, hey, us following around along within the matrix, a societal dogma. Now, I suggest to you one final thing here. What is choosing the red pill? So the Matrix, Keanu Reeves, Neo, has a choice. Blue pill versus red pill. I would suggest choosing the red pill. One, we have to face our mortality. We have to face it, and we have to try to get away from the abstract view of this, that someday I will cease to exist, and recognize it and think about it. And I bet you're like me. Once in a while, you think of death. And you think of this, and it scares you, because it scares me. Because all I can think of is, I don't want to die. Because, boy, I don't want to miss out on the party. It's like the life is the party. The world is this environment that I don't want to leave it. Boy, I'll miss all this stuff. But we need to face our mortality. We're not going to live forever. We need to face it and create an urgency so we don't waste it. Second, we need to accept uncertainty, the contingency of life. We have to just accept that we don't have all the answers. I don't know the effects of my choices. I can choose something tomorrow and find in a year, 2 years from now, hate my choices. But it's easy, of course, to rewrite our choices. That's easy, because we don't have the experience of a different choice. But we need to accept the uncertainty of life. We need to question the pattern. Do not follow societal dogma. We live in a socially constructed world. And when you think about that, that world was created by humans, and of course we know that humans are not perfect beings, you know, the world could be constructed differently. And we have to question it. We have to question the pattern. Don't follow along just because societal dogma says I'm supposed to. And we need to always question that pattern. Third, we have to consciously choose our lives. So we've got to question life, meaning the world around us, our own selves. At the same time, we've got to live our lives. We've got to choose it. And we make our choices. And we need to be conscious of those choices and be responsible for those choices. And even though we may screw up, of course we're going to do that, we've got to accept that this is the human experience. This is the experience that all of us are on. And we're on this kind of ride, if you will. We can't get off. But we try to make the best of it and make sense of it. So we choose, and then we have to experience our lives. And every day we experience that life. Every day we have to go and we have to choose a ticket and take the ride. And then we experience it. And lastly, we need to question, and if we need to, change our lives. So we always live in this continual question of how to live. At the same time, we've got to make those choices and actually live. And this is the red pill, consciously facing my life. And I think the challenge now in the 21st century is that it's being argued, and I agree with it, that humankind, we're kind of at a crossroads. And what are we going to do? Which way is the world going to go? And can humanity actually elevate ourselves? Can we elevate the human experience to a more meaningful existence and not worshiping the mall as our God, or blindly following patterns of belief because they're out there? And secondly, can we come together collectively to create a better world for all and change it, and as the world evolves, more of a conscious evolution of choice? Thank you very much.